What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, TV shows. If it's geeky, if it's nerdy, I'm talking about it here. Right now, I want to talk about something that's really geeky and nerdy, and that's Star Trek. Star Trek is such a big part of my life. I adore Star Trek. The original series was great. I love the original movies. My Star Trek is Star Trek The Next Generation. Picard is my captain. That's what I grew up with. Deep Space Nine was fine. Voyager was fine. Enterprise was fine. But Next Generation is my Star Trek. Let's talk about CBS All Access before I get into my review of Episode 1 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Let's talk about the All Access era. Discovery. Discovery has been very divisive amongst Star Trek fans. And I'm in the middle on it. I like some of Discovery. I really like some of Discovery. Some of Discovery just doesn't feel like Star Trek to me at all. And that's kind of where my line is. I like all this stuff over here, but all this stuff doesn't feel like Star Trek over here. And it really makes me kind of divided on how I feel about Discovery. Picard. I really liked season 1 of Star Trek Picard. I mean, I really liked it. I thought it was excellent. It's right up there with my favorite Star Trek series. The Next Generation is my favorite Star Trek series. Then the original series. And then maybe Picard. Maybe. I really liked it a lot. Now, it had its problems. You know, there was some of Star Trek Picard did not feel like Star Trek. It felt like pandering to modern audiences in a desperate attempt to get new people interested in Star Trek. A lot of it just did not feel like the classic Next Generation Trek I guess that they want us to believe that after Star Trek The Next Generation, after Star Trek Nemesis, humanity reversed. We stopped advancing, we stopped progressing, and we reversed as a culture. That's what Star Trek Picard looked like to me, was that culturally we went backwards. Still really liked it. Alright, let's talk about Lower Decks. Episode 1 is here. So Lower Decks is an animated Star Trek show, and I'm going to pull it up here because I want to make sure I get everything right. I've only watched the episode once. I don't remember what the ship's name is. What is the ship's name? The Cerritos, something like that. It's an animated show about the people who are working on the lower decks, not the captain, not the bridge crew, but the people who are, the grunts of the Cerritos. And it's an interesting idea. Initially, I thought that they were making Lower Decks as a way to appeal to younger audiences, to try to win new Star Trek fans. But then, what they do is they prove once again that they really don't understand Star Trek. the producers on who is it? Kurtzman. Kurtzman does not understand Star Trek. He has created a cartoon that is filled with adult humor, adult sexual innuendo, drug references, adult language. I mean, this is a modern Adult Swim Cartoon Network show with Star Trek clothes on. It doesn't feel like Star Trek. And again, that's my biggest problem. And there were moments that felt like Star Trek. When you see the cutscenes, the cutscenes feel like Star Trek. They felt like a Star Trek cutscene. The moments where you see the ship flying through the air, that felt Star Trek. That has all the clothes on to come to the Star Trek party. But when it gets there, it doesn't have any knowledge about Star Trek. Yeah, it says some of the right words. It says some of the right terminology. But it really doesn't have the knowledge of Star Trek to really be invited to the party. And that's my problem. Yeah, we can drop a lot of references. We dropped references to Sulu and to Kirk and all these references galore. See, we know Star Trek. We know that the fans want to hear Sulu's name. They don't get it. They don't get it. We know what the culture is supposed to be like at the time. Us Star Trek fans. And to see people acting in ways that are not consistent with the way that they are supposed to be acting given that time in the Star Trek culture, it just doesn't work for me. But let me say this. Take the Star Trek clothes off of it. And just have it be a show about people, have it be a cartoon about people exploring space. It was entertaining. It was entertaining. A lot of the jokes were funny. The animation was good. The situations were funny. They were entertaining. It was a funny show. It was an entertaining show. I enjoyed it. If I took the Star Trek clothes off. In some ways, it really reminded me of the Seth MacFarlane show, The Orville. The Orville was great. I really like The Orville a lot. It's funny. It makes Star Trek references. There are times it actually feels like Star Trek. In some ways, I feel like The Orville is more like Star Trek than Discovery is. It has Star Trek. It has a Star Trek feel to it. And it's very entertaining, but it doesn't have the Star Trek clothes on. So I'm able to watch The Orville and be like, man, that's good. A show like this, a show like Lower Decks, I feel like if it was just what it was, like The Orville is, but it didn't have the Star Trek clothes on, I would have liked it a lot more. I don't know. Let's see how, I think there's 10 episodes, maybe 8 to 10 episodes this season, and then they're going to go right into Discovery Season 3, I think. But let's see how this plays out. I really thought this was going to be a way to introduce younger audiences to Star Trek, and this is not that. This is adult programming. That it's a cartoon, and it feels more adult in its content, not in its plot, not in its storytelling, because I'd say The Next Generation is more adult than that, Enterprise, etc., etc. But as far as the edginess is more adult in this than pretty much any Star Trek show. So let's see how Lower Decks plays out. There was enough of it that was entertaining. I'm going to keep watching it, and we'll just see where we... It felt like Harley Quinn. It did. Some of it felt like that DC Universe Harley Quinn show. I don't know. Let's keep watching it. See how it plays out. Maybe it's going to end up being great. Maybe it's going to end up being the best Star Trek season of on television ever. I'd say the odds are 17,475,872 to 1 that happens. But there's a chance. There's a chance. I didn't love it. I didn't love Lower Decks, but I liked enough of it to keep watching. What did you guys think of Star Trek Lower Decks Episode 1? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your take on it. Maybe you loved it. Maybe you despised it. Maybe you loved it. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.